In this week's double episode season premiere, we meet two incredible women who meant every word when they repeated at the altar they will love and cherish their husband in sickness and in health. They share their unimaginable journeys as caregivers and share with us how they turned their pain into purpose. In today's Part 1 episode, we meet Ashley Jackson-Thompson. Just 3 months after her engagement, her fiancé was diagnosed with a rare type of cancer with merely a 35% survival rate. Instead of throwing an engagement party, they started rounds of chemotherapy, radiation, and surgeries. Stay tuned to find out how Ashley turned her own pain into being a blessing to other terminally ill individuals and their families. All right, welcome back, everybody. I am so excited today. I have our season premiere for season 2, and I have two beautiful ladies here with me today sharing incredible stories and journeys. And I would like to go ahead and introduce to the stage Ashley. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, thank you so much for having us and me today. I really appreciate the platform. So, my name is Ashley Jackson-Thompson, and I reside in Ohio. Go Buckeyes.
Yeah.
So, my journey, I am a caregiver to my husband,
Hmm.
and my journey began back in 2017, really unexpectedly,
Okay.
as most caregivers kind of
Mm.
that happens to them at times. And we actually were not married at that time.
Okay.
I had done like a eat, pray, love trip for
Hmm.
about 9 months, if you will. And when I returned, my boyfriend, Troy, at the time, said he wanted to go to Disney World to celebrate my return. And I'm like,
Mm.
awesome, let's go
Yeah.
because I love Disney World and I love to travel. So we went there. He surprised me,
Mm.
knocked me off my feet, proposed to me at Cinderella's castle on
Wow.
January 1st of 2017. And of course, I said yes.
Hmm.
My let me back up. My 9 month trip was a grieving, find yourself type of trip. I had
Okay.
lost my father suddenly,
Oh.
so I needed some time to gather myself because
Hmm.
I was not my whole self. And Troy let me have that space. So when I came home and he proposed, I just knew. I was like, "Yes, of course. No other man would suit me like you
Right.
do." So, uh, we started planning our wedding, doing newlywed stuff,
Hmm.
and March 28th of 2017, after going to a few doctors because of headaches that
Hmm.
he was actually finally diagnosed with uh, cancer. It was a
Mm.
rare cancer in stage 4.
Oh, wow.
So it started in his nasal
Mm.
cavity, but of like some people that are diagnosed with cancer, you go to the doctor for something else,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh, surprise,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
you have cancer.
Mm.
And we weren't expecting that at all. Like, we
Yeah.
had literally been engaged for 2.5 months, right?
Mhm.
So, we shift from picking out our colors, our venue,
Yeah, yeah.
to now we have to be thrown into chemo, radiation,
Mm.
and I say we a lot because it was a tribe, it was a family
Right,
affair, right?
right.
And just we beat the highway every day,
Mhm.
from where we live in Ohio to Cincinnati, where his care was. It was an hour and a half one way.
Mm.
So, I'm not only thrust into being a caregiver at 31,
Mhm.
um, but I'm having to be the chauffeur, the nurse, the cook, the
Right.
clean. I'm the breadwinner all
Yeah.
of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, just all of that stress that comes with being a caregiver, especially being thrown into one,
Right.
I
Right.
dealt with it.
Yeah.
Um, so the tumor would shrink, but then it would come back and it would like double in size. That
Mm,
happened a couple times until finally of December 2017, the doctor said, "Look, we need to just go ahead and go in here surgically and try to remove it."
mm,
So, when they did that, the surgery went well,
mhm,
but it the shock of what they had to do was devastating.
mm,
So just imagine, sending your loved one through those double doors
mhm,
one
mhm.
way, but then
Yeah.
they come out a totally different way.
Wow.
He has been forever physically changed.
Mhm.
So when I went back to see him, I'm seeing all these tubes, this
Right.
blood,
Yeah.
and first thing I notice is, he's missing his eye, which his doctor did tell me what they had to take away,
Mhm.
but just to see it,
Right.
I about fainted. Thankfully my mom caught me, but they had to take his left eye,
Mhm.
a part of his nose, and a part of his skull
Oh,
because
wow.
of
Wow.
how much damage that tumor had done.
Right.
And, Troy just, he didn't understand. He thought there was a
Mhm.
bandage for about a month and a half. And I had to keep
Oh,
reminding him, no, this is our new normal,
right.
our new normal, you know, and um, the tumor just kept wanting to come back even after
Uh-huh.
that surgery. So more chemo
Mm,
and more radiation. Immunotherapy was introduced as well,
right.
which um, Troy has had his lifetime's worth of radiation in this area.
Mm,
He
mhm.
is never allowed to have radiation here ever again,
Oh, wow.
just to show you how much this man has been through.
Right.
And so they get the tumor shrunk again in order
Mhm.
for us to get married.
Mhm.
So this whole time, I'm still planning our wedding because
Mhm.
Troy refuses to postpone, even though I've asked
Yeah.
not to cancel the wedding, but can we just postpone until another
Mm,
year?
right.
He said no because he wasn't going through all of this chemo and radiation to not have our wedding when we wanted to
Mm,
have it.
mhm. Mhm.
So, by the grace of God, we were able to get married on August 11th of 2018.
Mhm.
The poor man was tired because he had finished a really harsh round of chemo.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was a little ill and tired on our wedding day, but
Uh-huh.
he made the most of it.
Aw.
Um, both of us did. It was the happiest moment
Right.
of my life, really,
Oh.
because not only were we able to, you know, celebrate our love, we were able to
Uh-huh.
celebrate life at the same time.
Yes, yes.
And, we had had scans done before
Mhm.
our uh, our wedding. We wanted to wait until after our honeymoon to hear the results. And when we came back from our honeymoon, about 2 to 3 days after our honeymoon, his doctor walks in, and I can just kind of tell by her energy, it's not
Mhm.
the news we're about to hear is not good.
Mhm.
And she looks at Troy first, and she says, Troy, I'm so sorry, but
Yeah.
it's coming back. The scan showed it's coming back, and there's
Mhm.
nothing I can absolutely do for you. You've
Mm.
exhausted all the forms of treatment for head and neck cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And, then she turns and looks at me and says, Ashley, I'm so sorry. I know you guys just got married, but
Uh-huh.
you're going to have to call hospice. And the only thing I knew about hospice was that's where people go to die, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I was like, we literally just got back from paradise, and now you're telling me I have to call,
Oh my gosh.
hospice.
Yeah.
So I broke down, and I have my mom with me, just in case we heard something like this. And
Mhm.
my mom and I are like bawling. And meanwhile, Troy, I hear him say, "No, nope, I'm not going out like that. You got
Mhm.
to," and he starts shouting at the doctor. He said, "You have to
Oh,
figure something out."
right.
We were at that begging stage,
Yeah.
in grief.
Oh.
So, I even then kind of snapped out of my crying and I said, "Yeah, doc, is there
Mhm.
anything? I mean, we'll try anything, even if it's new to the market as of yesterday. We'll try
Right, yeah,
it."
yeah.
And she told us to wait. We'll do some more scans and talk to the board, the medical board, about it. About a week or two after that is when she called us back
Mhm.
and said that the tumor board, there at his hospital, suggested that it possibly might be scar tissue mimicking tumor.
Okay.
But the only way they could figure that out is if they have to open him back up.
Yeah, yeah.
So another major surgery.
Right.
Of course, we said yes because we want to know. We have to know.
Mhm.
And it was um, scar tissue.
Oh, good.
Yes. It was good, but also it was
Must
crazy
have
because that
right,
scar tissue did even further damage.
right.
So it completely broke all the way through his skull
Oh,
and got into his brain. So the second surgery required actual more removal of his skull bone and
mhm.
a part of his brain.
Wow.
And yeah, so I was, a little scared because I'm like, okay, the part of the brain that they removed was it affects your mood
Uh-huh.
and slight memory. So I was like,
Right.
oh gosh,
Yeah.
me being dramatic, I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna wake up and not
Right, right.
remember me, or
Yeah.
but
Valid
none of that
valid
happened.
concerns.
Yeah. His mood wasn't totally changed, and
Uh-huh.
he remembered who I was, and
Oh, that's good.
which was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what led us, thankfully, to hearing some of the best news we've gotten in his cancer journey.
Right.
And that brings us to March of 2020.
Right.
He was pronounced cancer free.
Yay!
Finally, it
That's
was almost
awesome.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost 3 years to the date,
Wow.
from when we heard the
Uh-huh.
diagnosis to when they said he was cancer free. And
Oh,
I don't say this much, and I probably should start saying this more, but
yeah.
his doctors, the radiation doctor, chemo doctor,
Mhm.
his ear, nose, and throat specialist, they all have told Troy, they have told this man, "You are an amazing person for everything that you've gone through,
Yeah.
and we don't know how you've gone through it,
Oh,
but you
wow.
made it."
Yeah.
So these
Wow.
doctors are like amazed by his
Amazed with him.
case.
Yes.
Because
That's
the
amazing.
cancer at the stage it was in, he had a
Uh-huh.
35% survival rate.
Wow.
And my man got it. He beat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
He likes to say he gave it the 1-2 uppercut.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, Ashley, can I ask something, Jasmine?
Yes, of
Can I ask,
course. Yes.
what went through your mind
Right, right.
when you were walking down the aisle? I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you said that because I like to say I had three of the most amazing men that are in my
Mhm.
life help me walk down that aisle. Or two helped me walk down, but to my one. So like I said, my dad had passed, but on my bouquet I had a picture of him,
Mm,
and I was trying so hard not to cry, but I
yeah.
had my brother who was a spitting image of my dad. Everything about my dad is in a smaller package of my brother.
Uh-huh.
So he walked me down the aisle. So I'm trying not to cry because I don't want to ruin
Oh.
my makeup. So I keep looking at the picture of my dad, and then I look like out the corner of my brother, and my brother's super nervous because he's like, "Oh my God, I have to give you away. This should have been
Oh.
dad." I'm like, let's walk to the aisle. But then I keep looking at Troy, and Troy's lost it. Okay,
Mm.
he's up there "Ah," crying. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Now I'm a big crier, so I'm like, okay, pull it together, lady, pull
Right.
it together. But the whole time I'm walking down there, everything felt right. I don't know how else to explain it. Everything just felt
Uh-huh.
right. I was going to get to marry my best friend, the only man that truly understands me,
Mm.
and we had fought so much to get to that point.
Mhm.
Everything was just right in its perfect spot, and I took comfort in that day that I got to marry my best friend.
Oh.
And no matter what was going to transpire after that,
Mhm.
we could nail it. You
Mhm.
know, when the pastor said, um, you know, through sickness and health, you literally can hear us on our
Mm.
video kind of chuckle because we're like, oh, like pastor, we got that, like we good on that part.
Oh.
So, but yeah, it was nothing but love walking
Mhm.
down that aisle. Nothing but
Oh,
love. Two of my favorite men walking me down to my favorite man.
yeah. Oh.
So
And Ashley, I wanted to ask you because you mentioned, you started taking over different roles and responsibilities that you've never had to do after his diagnosis. You mentioned having to be his nurse, but you're not coming from a healthcare background, are you? Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how this all transpired and how you kind of had to shift what you knew and what you needed to learn?
yeah, definitely. So my background's actually in human resources.
Mm,
So, I love to help people,
right.
period.
Yeah.
But never a medical
Mm,
standard.
exactly.
Um, it's just things that you learn, you have to learn.
Hmm.
I had to watch for signs of um like the chemo would make
Hmm.
him really ill, so I had to watch him. Sometimes I didn't get any sleep because I needed to hear his breathing,
Hmm.
to make sure he was getting enough rest
Hmm.
for the chemo and radiation treatment the next day. I had to make sure from the radiation that it wasn't affecting him or his eyesight at the time when he had
Hmm.
both eyes.
Yeah.
I had to make sure if he said something like, "Oh, I can't see that," I'm like, I would instantly, "Why? Like, what's wrong?"
Uh-huh.
He's like, "No, I mean, like, I need reading glasses."
Uh-huh.
So, it's just different things that you pick up on
Hmm.
throughout the journey. I had to do research. I mean,
Yeah.
I asked a lot of questions,
Good, good, yeah.
especially when the doctor would say like some type of condition and I
Mhm,
can't even pronounce it. I'm like,
mhm,
Doc, please slow down.
mhm.
What is that? Like,
Yeah,
can you
yeah.
just tell me in a dumb person's like layman's words, please?
Right, right.
Like, what?
Uh-huh.
And then, just go from there. I think some caregivers might be afraid or intimidated to ask questions, but
Mhm.
when you have no kind of medical background,
Right.
you have to. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way I could have taken good enough care without asking the questions or
Right.
challenging,
Mhm.
um, if they didn't want, excuse me, to do something. And then I felt like, okay, well,
Mhm.
he's not feeling well from this drug. Can we try a different chemo? Or, sometimes they
Yeah.
have to be challenged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because you're going home with that person, what
Exactly.
what's going on. They
Right.
just see him maybe for a half hour.
Mhm. So thank you, Ashley, for saying that. So you ladies, I'm not sure if you know this, but my trade is as a registered nurse, and I'm a pediatric nurse on top of that. So one of the things that we try very hard to is to make sure that when we're speaking to parents and our patients, because our patients are pediatric in this sense, we talk to them and we speak to them in ways that can help them understand with zero medical background. So I'm happy to hear that you advocated for yourself to say, "Whoa, pump the brakes," and explain this in a slower, more simpler terms for me because these are big medical phrases, big medical words that most people will never ever hear in their lifetime. And here I am, all of this knowledge and information is being thrown at me. Just
Yeah.
pump the brakes a little bit. And I think people have to be more sensitive to that. If we have any caregivers, any healthcare providers listening, is just be more cognizant of that. Sometimes we're so intelligent in a way that we know all this knowledge, and we want to make sure we share it and give everything to the families so they have this wealth of knowledge. But the families have no idea what they're hearing, and they need to hear every single word so that they are empowered to learn more and to just understand what's going on really.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
um
Yeah.
so let's ask you about your self-care tips. So you mentioned there were nights where you weren't sleeping because you had to hear or see him breathe. That takes a toll. We have parents in the pediatric setting who, are not used to their kids being sick. Their kids are perfectly healthy, and then out of nowhere, it's an obscure diagnosis or maybe an accident in the playground that happens, and now they are on high alert, hyper vigilant. They're listening to their, like you were saying, he comes out with tubes and lines and everything, and that's what our patients come out with. You go in a very normal baby or patient, and you come out and you're completely different. You're under all this bandages, and it's overwhelming. So Ashley, like what kind of how was that experience for you, and what did you do to try to normalize it?
Yeah. So, you know, Miriam and I talk a lot about
Hmm.
self-care tips,
Yeah.
and how important it is.
Yeah.
Like burnout is real. Like,
Right.
don't do it.
Right.
We have the tips to help you to
Hmm.
bypass the burnout.
Yeah. Yeah.
But self-care is different for everybody. My
Hmm.
self-care is going to look different than Miriam's and yours, Jasmine.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
for me, I found that a spa day, a massage, getting a
Okay.
pedicure is
Yeah.
wonderful, but
Yeah.
can I do that all the time?
Right.
No. So
Mhm.
I had to come up with quick, easy ways for me.
Mhm.
So specifically yesterday, guess what I did, Miriam? I sat in my car for 10 minutes and just listened to different ranges of genres, and I got to rock out. I came back inside and Troy was like, What why are you so happy? I'm like, "'Cause I just had a little mini concert and I got refreshed."
Yes.
Okay? Going for a walk,
Uh-huh.
the exercise, and what's really key and something I wanna work on more is watching what you put in your body. So
Mhm.
putting in more water, putting in more greens, watching, the processed foods that I eat,
Mhm. Mhm.
is so important because whatever you put on the inside
Right.
um, can help you feel better.
Uh-huh.
So you'll sleep better, your mood will be better, you'll have higher energy.
Mhm. Mhm.
If we're not taking care of our vessels, who's going to take care of our loved one? You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
because nobody is going to take care of Troy the way that I take care of Troy. So
Mhm.
I got to watch what I do with my body. I have
Mhm.
to take care of it.
Yeah.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
You just can't.
Exactly.
I've I've tried. It came
Right.
out like sand.
Mm.
Like there's and when you get to
Yeah.
that point, there was a point where my mom and Troy both
Mhm.
almost had like an intervention with me. I'm like, he's the one that's sick. But no, I was getting very moody,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, tired, stressed, overweight. I had gained, I call it my caregiver weight, you know, and I got to the point where they sat me down and said, maybe you need to go away for a weekend or week. How about a week?
Mm.
Like you need to go away and
That's
get
yeah.
refreshed.
Uh-huh.
My mom was like, I've got this. I can help you.
Uh-huh.
And that's another thing, which I know Miriam can touch on as well,
Mhm.
is receiving help is
Right.
also
Right.
self-care
Exactly. Exactly.
And asking for help.
Yes. Yes.
and asking for it.
Yeah. And I think that's great, Ashley and Miriam. Definitely chime in if you'd love to. But Ashley, I think it's fantastic that you have people in your corner that were able to say, listen, we have to have an intervention here. Because a lot of times I feel like seeing it from a bedside nurse perspective, when I used to work at the bedside, that's what I saw. I had to tell, and I worked in the neonatal intensive care. So we have brand new mamas and daddies who have never experienced being a parent, much less now seeing your child sick in the NICU. And the thing that I had to do was I had to have a come to Jesus with them. I said, listen, you have to take care of yourself, because when you come in here and you're stressed, this is the baby can feel it. They can feel your anxiety. And it just, I know you want to be here for them, but right now you're not in a good place here for them. So you have to go home. You have to sleep. And if you roll over at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're worried, call me. I am here. I am taking care of your baby. Do not feel like, have know that we are here to do what's best for your child as well. And so things will not happen, major decisions will not happen without you being involved. And so we have to remind them that as well. But I feel like a lot of times people forget because they're new to parenting, and their stress and their emotions seems very appropriate, that family members forget to step in and say, you have to stop. You need to step back a little bit and take care of yourself. Miriam, did you, or Ashley? Yeah.
Yeah, asking for help it was a big no for me, and
Yeah.
Ashley knows what we talk about this a lot. And the reason why I wasn't asking for help
Mhm.
is that I thought, what would they think of me? Oh no, maybe they
Mm,
think I'm weak. Maybe they will
mm,
think I can't take care of my husband.
yeah.
That's why I wasn't asking
Mm,
for help.
mhm.
Pride.
Now that I think back,
Yeah,
don't do it, listeners. Don't do it. Don't
right.
be like me. Don't be like Ashley.
Right, right.
Burnout's not pretty,
It's
okay?
not, it's not. And
Not at
especially
all.
especially during this very, very relevant time with the global pandemic and people not um I think a lot of times us stronger, more alpha females are forgotten because we're like, oh, Miriam's good, Ashley's good, Jasmine's good. Let me go check on my friend over here that I know always complains or always have something concerning to say. And those of us who are more like, okay, I got this. Nobody checks in on us. People
Mm-mm.
forget. People forget that we feel it too. Yeah.
Miriam, didn't I just say this yesterday?
Yes, she did.
You need to check on your strong ones because those are the ones that are
Mhm.
probably unraveling and
Mhm.
falling apart.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. All right. So, Ashley, what about maintaining being a victor over the victim mentality? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So my biggest thing for that would be you're going to have your moments. Everyone does. But where I go from victor over victim is that I have to tell myself, okay, self, Ashley, you're not going to stay there. I
Mhm.
might get a negative thought, but we can't we can't stay there. And um I've literally like said out loud, no, we're not doing that today. And Troy's like, who not doing what? Who are you talking to? What's going on? I'm like, listen, talking to myself.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Having a
The
moment here.
self had a yeah, self had a really crazy thought and we're not doing that today. He was like, okay. And he just kind of lets me be. So, that's just it takes a while to get there. Like it wasn't just like overnight, like, oh, I'm happy. We're going to, you know, be just so joyful. Like
Mhm.
you have to work on it. It literally takes time. But what I have learned over time is life is short
Mm,
Mhm.
and I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of my time and effort on things that are not going to help others because
Mm.
that's what I want to do is help others, right?
Right,
So,
right.
I learned that from my dad. He passed away so early.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
but he impacted so many people. And that's what I want to do. So I don't have time to be a victim,
Mhm.
literally, because I don't know how much time I have.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that my impact um,
Mhm.
is a good one.
Yeah, yeah. So Ashley, then tell me how you turned your pain into purpose. What are you doing these days?
Yeah. So, other than being a caregiver advocate along with my friend Miriam,
Mhm.
uh, I also launched my purpose filled business in the middle of the pandemic. Call me
Mhm.
crazy, but I love a little spice in life, you know?
Mhm.
I launched Timeless Dream Events,
Okay.
which merged my passions with my pain,
Yeah.
and blossomed into my purpose. So, Timeless Dream Events specializes in planning any type of event, whether it's weddings, showers, birthdays, celebrations of life
Mhm. Mhm.
for uh, anyone, but specifically for uh, terminally and chronically ill and
Uh-huh.
their loved ones.
Okay.
So I have people that I can rely on that can
Mhm.
do a wedding, birthday, whatever at the drop of a hat,
Mm.
literally. So I'm just so filled.
Mm.
I'm so full,
Yeah.
and I love waking up and seeing who I can help.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I love to party. I
Right.
love making other people smile.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting that when I launched my business, so many people said, "Oh, we're this is amazing for you. Like, we're not surprised."
Mhm.
And in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Well, why didn't anybody tell me?"
Yeah.
But sometimes things are right in front of your face and you can't see it until
Exactly.
life throws you different curveballs, and then
Uh-huh.
you come to your purpose. And my dad always told me that one day I would find my purpose and I
Mm.
would know it. I didn't know what that meant
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the time.
Right.
Now I do. I wake up fired up, excited,
Mhm.
and just full of love.
Mhm.
And Troy feeds off of it because he's like, man, what's going on? What are we gonna do today? He feeds
Mhm.
off my energy.
Yes.
So that's why I always try to, keep that victor over victim
Mhm.
mentality,
Mhm.
because he feeds off of that. Your loved ones will feed off your energy. So,
Mhm.
try to come correct,
Yeah. Yeah.
um but yeah, I'm loving what I'm doing, and just sharing my knowledge of what a caregiver pathway looks like.
Mhm.
My caregiver journey is still being written.
Right. Yeah.
So even though he's cancer free, there's things that radiation and chemo and two major
Mhm.
surgeries do. So I'm
Exactly.
still finding myself
Right.
being a caregiver, and that's okay. It's a different element to it,
Uh-huh.
level, but
Yeah.
that's okay. Him and I are in this together. He fully
Mhm.
supports my business. He actually helped me uh, come up with my name of my
Mhm.
business. Something dream was something my dad always said.
Mhm.
Chase your dreams. So, he reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Again, stuff that's not right in front of your face, you can't see.
Exactly.
And Troy is my muse and my inspiration for this, and my dad is also entwined into everything I do.
Yeah.
So I can't say any more about my love for my two of my favorite men,
Mhm.
and now I get to have a purpose filled business in
Yeah.
honor and memory of
Wow.
of them.
That's incredible. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And so Ashley,
Hopefully,
how have what's the shortest time frame that you'd had to throw together an event for someone? And can you share some of those testimonials and stories?
yeah, absolutely. So actually, a week for a celebration of
Wow.
life,
Ah.
and it was actually for my father-in-law. So my father-in-law, Troy's dad, actually was battling cancer as well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he gained his wings in the first part of November of 2020, and I
Wow.
literally my mother-in-law just she, the funeral home wanted to wait until the end of November. But
Mhm.
when I looked at my mother-in-law, she just had this look on her face like, "Oh my God, please,
Mm.
please help me," because she wanted it to be quicker so that she could start her grieving
Mm.
process
Mhm.
because of that. You've had death in
Some
your
closure.
family or
Right.
friends, I'm sure, like,
Right.
you have the anxiety
Yeah.
built up, you need it to be released. So
Uh-huh.
I, I told her, what do you want from me? What do you need? She said, I want it on this date, which happened to be like exactly a week.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we pulled it off. Like, my mom is my co-coordinator.
Right.
She's the best ever. She helped me. My caterer of choice, actually,
Mhm.
he splits his time between Ohio and Florida. He happened to be in Florida that week, but guess what he did? He
He
flew
flew back.
home to
Nice.
Ohio to cater the
Oh,
event.
wow.
And, just it was amazing to me because my mother-in-law does not say much,
Mhm.
but when she came up to me to give me a hug and tell me thank you,
Mhm. Yeah.
she said,
Boom.
now he can
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
Now he can rest.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Well, thank you for doing that for
Yeah,
them. That's
Beautiful.
incredible. That is incredible.
yeah,
Um, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine just even being in your shoes, just how strong you have to be still to hear the different types of stories that come to you now with your business and being able to give them exactly what they imagine and more, right? And just being able to give them that final send off or create that everlasting moment that will be in their
right.
memories forever. So thank you. It's you're doing something so incredible and so incredibly unselfish that it makes my heart full of joy to hear that that there are still people like you out there. And Miriam too. We'll get to your story, but you just have such incredible stories to share, and that instead of taking this and going "woe is me," you turned it into something so big and beautiful, and that's
Yeah.
so incredibly important.
And
You
what
know,
I also want to mention is that Ashley is writing a book
Mm.
about her
thank
story.
you.
Yay.
I always forget that. See, that's why Miriam and we have to tag team because things I forget.
Yeah.
Like, who forgets that they're writing a book? Yes, ma'am. I am writing a book. It's going to be my true love book,
Mhm.
starting with my dad through, onto Troy. So
Oh,
I'm excited.
that's
Like I
so
said, everything I
exciting.
do is for both of them.
Mhm.
So um I didn't expect my life to be this way,
Right. No, nobody ever does, but
but
you're
we are walking it out and living it to the
exactly.
best of our ability,
Mhm.
and we're going to live life like Troy said this year, 2021. I
Mm.
want to live my life. Like, I
Right.
beat cancer. We're going. We're living. We're
Uh-huh.
doing, and we're going. I'm like,
Yes.
yes, sir. I
Yes.
like that. You
Yes.
don't have to tell me twice.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So yeah,
So, but now with all the restrictions that we have nowadays, and with him having the background that he does, how are you guys maintaining and being cautious with your plans and what you do moving forward?
yeah. So it's actually pretty funny because last summer we rented an RV.
Uh-huh. Okay.
We're like, we're doing a COVID safe
There
trip.
you go. Yes.
So his big bucket list item for him is to go to all 50 states.
Okay.
So we were able to knock off, I believe, 10 or
Okay.
11.
Okay.
So yeah, but we rented an RV and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to help you drive." Honey, listen. I got behind that wheel and grabbed it and felt that when I turned the engine on, I said,
Uh,
"Oh, woo-wee." And I started driving a couple hours. He's like, "Hey, do you need me to drive?" Nope, I got this. Go lay down. Bye bye. I'm
Uh,
just like going to town. But we had some of the most fun. We got to
mhm.
see, God's earth,
Yeah.
and some of the things that we got to see, I'm like, there how can you say there's not a God? Because it's just too perfect. It's too
Mhm.
beautiful. And I can't wait. I think I want to have an RV,
Mm,
really
mhm.
and truly.
Yeah.
So, we're just playing it safe.
Uh-huh.
We've explored a little bit more in the surrounding area than I ever would have. And I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
this is Ohio? Who knew?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just keeping it safe
Okay.
as much as possible, but living life at the same time.
Exactly, exactly. No, that's beautiful. And that's exactly what we did last summer was we didn't rent an RV, but now I really want to because everybody around me are I think RV sales must have gone up with the
Yep,
pandemic.
yep.
It's just insane. I have so many friends and families around me buying RVs, and I'm like, I would have never thought you were an RV kind of girl, but okay. And I hear the same thing. It's that incredible power that you feel behind the wheel and just,
Yep,
and then I'm thinking, well, that really is much more convenient. You're not paying for hotel fees. You're not worrying about how clean or not clean the hotel is anymore. You go in, you clean that RV
exactly.
real good one time and it's yours, you now it's your space. And so
Yeah, and it's pretty safe.
yeah, it is. It is. But what
Yeah.
we ended up doing was we traveled the entire perimeter of Florida because my kids were like, well, we're going to go back to school. We never had a summer break. And we had plans prior to COVID. We had already flights booked and hotels booked for Europe. We were doing a European trip. And then we also had
Oh,
a 10-day cruise and all of that. And so the European trip was in June and the cruise was in August, and none of that happened. We had to refund everything.
Hmm.
Fortunately, we were able to with a little bit of loss, but it was just everything was gone. So we just traveled the entire perimeter of Florida. That was very interesting. And even in just the state of Florida, so many different types of cultures and ecosystems and everything that we were seeing. It was just
yeah.
phenomenal.
Nice.
So what are some of the best resources, Ashley and Miriam, that you would advise for people to go to who have similar diagnosis or similar news such as yours? What are some of the things that helped you through the process?
You know, a lot of prayer and
Mm,
meditation. Um, I my form of meditation is running.
mhm,
That's actually a good time. Meditation doesn't always have to be,
mm,
calm or,
mhm, mhm.
yoga or anything like that. But
Yeah.
my form of meditation, because pounding the pavement with my feet puts would put me in a
Mhm.
spot in a place where I felt like my
Mhm.
head was connecting to,
Yeah.
God and my dad. A
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
times I would just ask questions. That's when I would ask my questions as I'm running and um, try to get some of that anxiety off. It was hard to keep up because of all the treatments, but
Mhm.
social workers through the
Mm,
hospital are
mhm.
a very good resource as well.
Yes.
Hopefully, your loved one is at a good hospital that has really good social workers.
Mhm.
I know some might not, but you can always reach through specifically for cancer. You can always reach through the American Cancer Society
Mhm.
as well for
Mhm.
help or questions. There's so much information on their website. You can even break down the different types of cancers. And
Mhm. Mhm.
um, when I did that, I was like literally shocked. I'm like,
Right.
you literally can get cancer anywhere. Like this
Yeah.
is really crazy.
Right.
I didn't really have that
Yeah.
much um, resources that I needed other than that.
Okay.
Now I know everybody's journey is
Mm,
different, but I believe in the power of prayer and
mhm.
the ultimate healer.
Mhm.
So, and we felt the prayers
Mhm.
from all the people and um, just the belief and faith that we had.
All right. All right.
And self-care,
Mhm.
journaling. What I
Yes.
do, for instance, in the morning is I write for 5 minutes, whatever comes to my mind. If nothing
Uh-huh.
comes to my mind, I write it out. Oh, I can't think of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that rarely happens because there's always something going on in my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
And what I experience is that I get so many great ideas.
Uh-huh.
Um, oh, maybe I can do this today. And if I do this, it will help me get this, So that's what I do in the morning. I meditate every
Mhm.
morning and evening before I go to bed.
Mhm.
And um, there are certain groups on Facebook.
Mhm.
Ashley has a self-care group.
Mhm.
Um, I have a group as well, just
Mhm.
to share tips
Mm.
or affirmations. That's something
Mhm.
I use every day.
Okay. All right.
Affirmation, powerful affirmation. One of my favorite ones is, I am worthy of a wonderful life. And
Uh-huh.
I will tell you later why that one is my favorite
Yeah.
affirmation.
Okay.
So those are the simple things
Uh-huh.
that I use,
Yeah.
but they are
Very
so
nice.
powerful.
They are.
They are
Absolutely.
so powerful. And, asking for help.
Mhm.
Why? You will get some relief if
Mhm.
you get help.
Yeah.
And you can spend time to do something you enjoy.
Uh-huh.
That's self-care. So
Yeah.
doing something you enjoy, and it doesn't matter what it is, as long
Mhm.
as you enjoy it.
Exactly.
So Ashley mentioned social worker before. Anybody you can think of, anyone,
Exactly.
if it's a friend, family,
Mhm.
medical professional, your neighbor,
Right. Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
You don't know who knows something that might help you.
Exactly.
They can
Yeah.
help you with. Sorry. So um, start asking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just do it. It's easier for us to say just do it
Mhm.
because it was a big no for us
Yeah.
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 because I felt like I was a superhero. I'm on,
Mm.
but
Mhm.
don't be like me.
Yeah.
Please don't. Don't be like Ashley. No, I got it. No, don't worry. I got
Right.
it. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Wow. Thank you for that. And I thank you both for saying that meditation can come in any form. Ashley, whether it's a mini concert, mini solo concert that you have going on, or, whether it's pounding the pavement or seeking spiritual prayer, any of the above. But I mean, I've learned even in this process of Comfort Kills through all the different meditation experts that if I just took 1 minute to myself. So I ended up downloading an app, a meditation app. It was free. And then there are so many people with different types of meditation techniques, whether it's just music or whether it's just their voice giving you like a visual guidance on where you should take your mind into a different space. But some of them are like as little as 1 minute long and some are like 3 hours long. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
there's so many different variations. And so I learned to start just in when I wake up in the morning to just turn on that app and turn it on for 1 minute. And whatever I feel for the day, whether I just want music or I want somebody's soothing voice, I pick that person and I do my like 1 minute meditation to myself. Or if I feel like I need a little longer and I had a bad dream or a bad night's sleep, then I do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It doesn't have to take long, but you have to like have a moment, just a moment in time to
Right.
yourself to just be with yourself and kind of refill your cup in that very moment spiritually.
It's so
Absolutely.
important. Sometimes I just take 5 deep breaths,
Yeah, exactly.
breathing in,
Uh-huh.
breathing out, just
Yes.
5 times.
Hmm.
And I feel much better
Yeah,
after I it's simple, but it works. It helps.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lovely, lovely. All right, Ashley. So if I gave you a billboard and you can put any message on that billboard, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
I would probably say, and it's not super profound, but
Hmm.
it means a lot to me. Live life to the fullest.
Hmm. Yeah.
You only have one. I know it's so cliche, but it's so real.
Yeah.
You, there's not enough time in the world to be
There isn't.
down all the time. Like you have to figure out what makes you happy, gives you
Hmm.
joy, and you know, pursue it, live
Hmm.
it.
Right.
You literally only have one life.
Yeah.
Live it to the fullest.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Beautiful. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So, what is it that I haven't asked you already that you would like to still speak about?
Yeah, take care of your mental health.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
also, I know I discussed physical, but take care of your mental health. It's
Hmm.
very important. Troy and I were just talking about this last night.
Hmm.
You take care of you mentally, whether that
Yeah.
looks like therapy, prayer, meditation, whatever.
Right.
Um, we are both actually in therapy, but separately.
Hmm.
Uh, so, and it's been great. There's things that I've found out that I haven't worked through with the loss of my dad,
Mm.
and I thought I had because I did my big world trip,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that took care of the grief, and it hadn't.
Yeah.
Kind of put a band-aid on it, but then working through this process with Troy, um, just go get some therapy if
Yeah.
that works for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
I highly suggest it.
Right, right. No, and thank you for saying that because I think therapy and mental health wellness is so over stigmatized that we need to just end that stigma and start saying it is healthy for you. It is right for you. It is not what we envisioned it to be, where you're laying on a couch speaking to,
Right.
a shrink, but it really is so powerful, so, so powerful. So thank you very much. So, Ashley, for people to reach out to you, what is the best place for them to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can reach me at www.timelessdreamevents.com,
Mhm.
and you can actually download a freebie on there for some self-care tips, 10 self-care tips. So go get your freebie. And also on Instagram and Facebook at
Mhm.
Timeless Dream Events, and also on the Clubhouse.
Yeah. So addicted
um,
to that place.
oh my goodness, so many nuggets that
Yes.
we hear on there. And then Miriam and another caregiver and we have started our own little chat rooms and just
Okay.
trying to give caregivers that space
Okay.
where they can talk about their
Mhm.
journeys. And yeah, it's been really fun on Clubhouse.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Are there any last words before we move on to the next?
Thank you, Jasmine. I
Of course.
appreciate you having us both on. I know it's probably not normal for you, but uh, we just want to keep spreading the word
Yeah.
about caregiver journeys and let
Yes.
other caregivers know they are not alone. We are
Yes.
here. Reach out to us.
Mhm.
Yes.
We are
Mhm.
here for you.
Yes. Yes.
And thank you
Thank
again.
you. Thank you so much, Ashley. I really appreciate it and I love our conversation. And Miriam, you're up next, girl. So let's for those who are watching right now, come on back because we are going to get into more of the nitty-gritty of what it takes to be a caregiver in part 2.